Well, welcome everybody. My name is Neil Guild. I'm the Highways and Transport Asset Manager at Somerset Council. So welcome to the Wessex Live Labs presentation. Really good to see so many of you here today. So the Wessex Live Labs project is, and you've heard from the Gileses and Neil this morning, is really looking at how you can scale up some of the innovation that we are looking at around decarbonisation in the highway sector at a kind of macro scale. So the kind of scale we're talking about is we are managing 9 corridors in as carbon neutral a way as we possibly can. And some of those corridors are really substantial, sort of 20+ kilometre networks, to try and achieve the scale that we really need to do in the highway sector to really start looking at how you might run a highways authority, for instance, as carbon neutral as possible, way as possible. So without further ado from me, we do have a presentation that we're going to run you through on the screen, but it's a really kind of the number of areas that we're looking at. There's obviously the work on the ground about how we might address it through the 3 particular corridors, but also looking at the theory of change, and that's a key element of it, working with the looking at carbon analyzer toolkit, but also looking at the other aspects of the decarbonisation sector. So I'm going to hand over to the presentation now, rather than listen to me talk. So press play.
I'm Ricky, the Programme Manager for Wessex Live Labs. We have 9 net zero corridors across 3 local authorities shown on this slide. These act as a proxy for maintenance on all highways across the authorities. If you've had a chance to see our looping video, you will have seen some of the work we're undertaking on these. Our approach is based on data-led decision making using carbon analyzer, research and development of carbon budgets, and underpinned by donut economics, all of which we will touch on as we go through this presentation. The overall aim of the project is to review the whole service within the net zero corridors and change business as usual. We're considering materials, product, plant, process, people, and logistics. Here we can see how the different work packages interlink and support each other. At the core of the project are the 9 net zero demonstrator corridors. These are supported by several tools that support decision making, including donut economics, carbon analysis, carbon budgeting, practice of change, lean carbon review, and behavioural change. By using these tools, we ensure that we take a data-led approach to decision making, ensuring value for money and optimal delivery of low carbon solutions. In the last 12 months, we have further developed the donut economics, carbon analysis, and carbon budgeting toolkits, testing these tools and processes within the local authorities' highways teams. We have completed the Madron corridor, and you can see before and after drone footage on the looping video, some images shown on the right. In Hampshire, we have delivered resurfacing and patching work using low carbon approaches on all 3 corridors, with cyclic maintenance ongoing and winter maintenance coming to an end. We have redefined the scope to include service-wide solutions and are kicking off the final phase of development. Somerset are in the final phase for design on all 3 corridors, with work planned to start over the next 2 months. Live Lab is underpinned by donut economics. In partnership with Circular Economy, we have developed the Highways Donut. This enables us to consider the ecological and social factors of any decision we are making, ensuring we do not cause a shortfall to social foundation or overshoot the ecological ceiling. I'm sure you have seen our donut economics board. Kristen is here from Circular Economy, and I'm sure she would be happy to talk with you further about the benefits of using the Highways Donut toolkit we have developed. We have used the Highways Donut to look at strategy for winter maintenance in Somerset earlier in the year. This identified opportunities to feed back to central strategy. More recently, we reviewed the current operational approach using the Highways Donut toolkit, engaging with all key stakeholders across Somerset Council and Kier. This workshop led to identifying a number of blind spots, enabling us to ensure we are considering things such as culture and heritage, as well as identifying a plan to move from domain-based forecasting to route-based forecasting, to reduce carbon and rationalise the fleet ahead of any decarbonisation. Similar sessions are planned in Hampshire and Cornwall this week. As we go into year 3, we will be looking at how we can use donut economics as a compass to transform the sector. Join Kristen at 3 p.m. on our stand to learn more about donut economics and how you can get involved.
Hello, I'm Kira Jeffries, Carbon Analyst for the Wessex Live Lab, and I'm working on the carbon calculations for each of the 9 corridors. So far, 3 corridor carbon baselines have been calculated using the FHRG Carbon Analyzer tool, including the A30 in Hampshire and the A391 and Madron corridors in Cornwall, with 4 more corridors currently underway. These baselines include reactive, cyclical, and planned maintenance, and are used as the benchmark against which all carbon savings will be measured. Our Wessex carbon dashboard allows us to visualise and compare the carbon baselines for each corridor, normalised by corridor length, revealing that over 95% of carbon emissions come from planned capital schemes. We can also dive deeper into specific corridors, schemes, and work types, such as resurfacing and patching on the A30 here as an example, which highlights carbon hotspots like asphalt and transportation to prioritise the carbon reduction. The dashboard also shows the actual carbon savings achieved by trialling low carbon innovations on the corridors, as well as the savings which could have been achieved under the optimum simulated scenario. This allows us to analyse the savings for individual options or for the corridor as a whole. We've considered a wide range of interventions for testing on the corridors, which have been reviewed in Carbon Analyzer to understand the potential carbon savings. These solutions have also been assessed on their attractiveness, achievability, and sustainability using the Innovation Scorecard in Carbon Analyzer, providing a more holistic view to better inform the innovation selection process. And now it's back to you, Ricky.
Carbon budget is the amount of greenhouse gas emissions permitted over a period of time, which is usually set at the global level in order to keep global warming within a certain temperature threshold. Carbon budgets are also set at a national level by many countries to provide clear targets for reducing emissions. Once a national carbon budget has been set, this is taken to a high-level sectoral carbon trajectory, split to specific sub-sectoral trajectory, and then applied to the corridors using data from the carbon baselines to produce a corridor-level carbon budget curve. This slide shows the result of this work by the University of Exeter for the A30 corridor in Hampshire. Through year 3, we will be considering how local authorities could use carbon budgets to ensure better informed decisions are made at the right level to meet the carbon targets, as well as feeding back on the viability of this metric to support this approach moving forwards. I mentioned that part of the Wessex Live Lab is about changing business as usual. To do this, we need to understand how change occurs. We are working with the University of Exeter to understand tipping points. The tipping point is not the end goal, but the point at which resistance to change becomes outweighed by momentum for change. This tipping point is affected by all parts of a system. For example, engagement of low carbon solutions may rely on public sentiment, cost, perceived value, amongst others. We have several representative systems on the totem at our stand, which you can interact with to see how a change in one area of a system will flow through the entire system.
As with our Wessex partners, Cornwall's 3 corridors were selected to be representative of our road network. The Madron scheme, completed last year, used an innovative low-carbon surface course called MilePay from Mars Macadam. The virtual footway installed as part of the scheme used, for the first time in the UK, a bioresin material for the adhesive. Assuming the material performs as expected, it has the potential to be widely used in Cornwall in similar environments. The A391 scheme is due to commence in a few weeks, and although mainly about the surfacing, the scheme includes several additional elements to improve the long-term safety and resilience of the road. The roundabouts have a history of accidents, so several minor changes are being made to improve their visibility to drivers. This includes the innovative use of solar-powered road studs, new coating materials, and countdown planting. Previously, resurfacing work on the A391 would have been undertaken at night, but to help ensure the best possible performance and life expectancy of the carriageway, we'll be undertaking the surfacing under a daytime road closure. The surfacing will also be laid using 2 pavers working in echelon, utilising a power feeder to ensure there are no joints or weak points in the surface. And finally, the Green Pastures scheme is a rural road in North Cornwall, approximately 16 kilometres long, linking the A39 to the A30 trunk road. The scheme includes surface retexturing, surface preservation, perch carriageway edge reinforcement trials, and sign rationalisation and coating.
Hi, I'm Patrick Bingham, Hampshire County Council's Live Labs lead. In Hampshire, we've got trials successfully underway in all 3 test corridors. On the A30 and the A336, Multivo's hydrogen-powered Hydrohog has been in action to undertake patching works. On the A30, resurfacing works have used a lower temperature HRA Clause 943 as a first-time trial, combined with Shell's carbon sink biobinder. Elsewhere on the A32, we have replaced the use of AC20 with ex-situ recycled CRBM on a large resurfacing scheme. We're also trialling OCL's new MLS material, manufactured limestone, to embody carbon in our corridor footway resurfacing schemes. On the A336, we've been trialling the Econ 19-ton EV gritter, which has been procured for the winter season. Future innovations hope to include further EV plant trials, ex-situ gully waste recycling, a hydrogen power unit, recycled Type 1, and reheated surface course mixes.
In Somerset, we have a set of high-profile trials planned on our 3 corridors. The Chelston Junction 26 scheme addresses the maintenance needs of the M5 Junction 26 roundabout and A38 Chelston Link Road, which were constructed in 1974. We plan to use a lower carbon approach using in-situ recycling rubberization, which recycles the concrete pavement as sub-base material, which has an environmental benefit. This approach also reduces the long-term maintenance costs and disruptions, as well as producing economic benefits, such as reducing long-term maintenance costs and disruptions, while improving connectivity and supporting local growth. Other updates in Somerset on our corridors include, on the A38, we are using ex-situ recycling with a mobile cold recycling mixer plant, which reduces the transportation distances of materials and the need for new raw materials and minimises landfill usage. On the B3139, we're using carriageway rejuvenation, using Rhinofelt to prolong surface life and reduce and delay the need for other treatment options, such as surface dressing, patching and surfacing. On the Galmerton corridor, we are doing a footway scheme on the Queensway, using recycled materials for sustainable construction. And finally, we will be applying the Donut Economics Toolkit across Somerset, firstly with a major project for our winter and emergency service, using route-based forecasting and gritting.
We are keen to share our learnings across Live Labs and beyond. Here are some examples of how we do that. Devon shared learning and innovation through the thematic group and innovation matchmaking. Liverpool shared learning, resources and tools for carbon accounting, COLAS and FHRG. CEDA, central source of innovative products and potential link through shadow testbeds. East Riding, shared learning on innovations through innovation matchmaking on lighting solutions. Greenprint, shared learning on innovations through innovation matchmaking, for example, biochar. We are engaged in planning a roundtable in April-May run by Adept to bring all UK authorities together to discuss donut economics too. For the next 12 months, we will be driving forwards with our implementation trials on the remaining net zero corridors, looking to transfer innovations into business as usual. We will be socialising our findings and looking for fast followers around the UK to scale out the approaches that we have developed. Full sector engagement is critical to ensuring we meet our carbon targets as an industry, country and the world. So looking at how we bring everything we have learned into BAU is critical. Collating the interlinked work streams of the project and integrating into business as usual activities. Thank you for listening, and a special shout out to all of the partners we've been working with, without whom this project couldn't happen. Thanks again.